Now, there is a certain kind of person who carries excellence like a calling. They deliver, they produce, they exceed expectations, and yet, when the next important task comes, they freeze. Not because they are weak, but because excellence has quietly becomes a weight. And fear is no longer, can I do this? It's something far deeper. What if this time not enough? If that question echoes inside you, you are not alone. Now, building on last episode's Freeze for Capable Folks, today we're going a layer deeper because excellence-driven paralysis has its own story, its own pressure, its own weight. And if you carry excellence like responsibility, this episode is for you. Now, excellence-driven people don't freeze from incompetence. They freeze because the weight of expectation feels larger than the task itself. Their internal world now often sounds something like this. If this goes wrong, it will affect everyone. I need more time to prepare. Now, what if I mess this up? What if my family sees me falter? Now, these aren't excuses, they are outcome-based fears rooted in a deep sense of responsibility and a deeper fear of being exposed. And beneath all these fears is one powerful belief: what I produce must match the identity I carry. When identity is tied to performance, every new assignment feels like a test, a verdict, a revelation of who you truly are. This is where psychology becomes theological. When excellence defines identity, any chance of imperfection awakens guilt. Not surface guilt, but the ancient internal kind that makes a person avoid seeing themselves truthfully. Like Adam in the garden, we try to escape not always from God, but from ourselves. We escape into busyness, into secondary tasks, into responsibilities where excellence feels safe. And we tell ourselves, I just don't have enough time for that big things right now. This is not manipulation, it is self-protection, a way to save the self from the fear that the next task might reveal a weakness we'd rather not face. But our escape does not heal guilt. Our exposure does. Which is why we come before God not with polish, but with honesty. Lord, I don't want to hide behind my excellence or escape from my weakness. Show me myself truthfully and meet me with your forgiveness. Let me stand in the open because you receive me completely. This moment of exposure breaks the cycle of escape, and it prepares us to see why the brain freezes too. What guilt does spiritually, your brain mirrors biologically. When an excellence-driven person approaches a meaningful task, the mind surges with overwhelming thoughts, comparing ideals to ability, replaying past success. You fear you can't match, rehearsing mistakes, anticipating reactions, exposing hidden weaknesses. This is working memory overload. The brain can't hold clarity or decisions. It shifts to inaction, interpreting the moment as unsafe. You don't choose paralysis, your brain defaults to it. Dopamine, the motivation spark, releases only with action, even small. It's the flick that gets the stalled engine humming, building momentum and confidence. But no start means no dopamine. So you feel flat even on deep matters. Now, cortisol, on the other hand, is a pressure chemical. It rises at the threat of unmet standards. It's the floodlight on every shadow. It suppresses motivation and amps escape urges. Now, this is why competent leaders feel exhausted before beginning. And spiritually, guilt escapes. Biologically, the brain freezes. Emotionally, motivation collapses. The ability is still there. The calling is still there. Only the starting has disappeared. You don't overcome excellence-driven paralysis by lowering your standards. You overcome it by lowering the pressure around the beginning. Now, here are 4 practices that restore movement without compromising excellence. Now, number 1, time boxing. You put a boundary around the beginning. Excellence-driven people delay because the task feels too large. Time boxing breaks that. Go ahead, decide now. For the next 10 minutes, I will work on this and only on this. And it works because short windows feel safe and pressure drops and the mind starts saying, manageable. Okay? Now, example, outline one idea or maybe read the brief. That's all. Now, time boxing doesn't reduce excellence, it reduces fear. Go ahead now, pick a task. Set 5 minutes mentally. Started? When? Number 2. The next action method, replace pressure with clarity. Now, paralysis arises from undefined giants. And what is a cure? It is specificity. Ask, what is the next physical action? For example, open the document, email David. Now, does it work? Oh yes. Why? Because the mind handles next. It doesn't handle big. Overload fades, weight lifts, clarity stops panic, starts movement. Whisper in yourself, what's next? Number 3, the 70% rule. Now start when you have enough, not everything. Leaders wait to perfect in clarity and in confidence. But wisdom says 70% is enough. Start. Why does it work? Certainty chases ends. Readiness, pressure dissolves. Excellence emerges in action. Past wins came from faithful beginnings, not perfection. Go ahead now, quick audit. One task at 70%. Go. Number 4, reward the start, not the outcome. Satisfaction hits only at outstanding finishes, but motivation starts with initiation. Reward beginning. Maybe a walk after 10 minutes, coffee after one paragraph. I began, that matters. Why does it work? Dopamine from the start builds momentum, confidence, excellence, and honor the courage. Before we close, let me speak to the place inside you. That excellence has carried you for years and perhaps exhausted. You were never meant to build your identity on flawless execution. Excellence is a calling, perfection is a burden, and grace is the only thing strong enough to unburden you. When Paul pleaded with God about the weakness that threatened him, God did not remove the weakness. He said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." That is not a verse only for the broken. It is a verse for the high achiever, the leader, the one who feels the weight of responsibility and fears being exposed. God is not asking you to begin with strength. He's asking you to begin with honesty. Excellence may be what you produce, but grace is what will carry you. So as you step into the next task, not perfectly, but courageously, remember this. Weakness is not your enemy. It's the place where grace gets to prove what excellence never should. Share 70%, not DM me, anything. This is Between Sundays, and see you next episode.